Okay, what's going on, everybody? Hi, it's me, John D. Villarreal. Here we go. Show number 2. We are going to talk today about automotive. And I want to set this up right. I'm not, listen, I don't really know them personally, never met them individually, whatever, but I respect both people some of the different people I'm going to talk about. I respect everybody, basically. Let's start with that. But I didn't want to set this up as a debate and this and that, but I saw a post by someone from the Indy Elliott group. I'm going to get into that. I also saw a post and a live stream thing by Brett Sutherland, obviously the owner and CEO of Sutherland Automotive, very, very successful. And I think both the Elliott Group and Sutherland are doing some very interesting, innovative things. I think we can have discussions and debates in this industry, if you will, where not everyone agrees, and it's okay, and we can all learn from each other and try to further our own thought process about these things, okay? So I will say at the front here that everything I'm saying, of course, is my own personal opinion only, not alleging facts, not casting aspersions, all for entertainment purposes only. Please check all the disclaimers, and I will put links in my video description on YouTube about this. And I've also, pinged both of them about being on the show and whatnot, and they're welcome on the show anytime to talk about it and to fully explain. And listen, I say things sometimes, and anytime you're on the air for live, whatever, you're going to make mistakes. We all do. And sometimes I think, I said this, and that's part of what I did. Not mistakes, but I wanted to, had more I needed to say and revise and extend, right? But really more I need to say on the SVB thing. That's what took me so long on the last video, because there's so much to sort of talk about and unpack there. So I totally get it. So I'm not trying to, so I just want to say that up front. I'm not setting this video up like, oh, this versus this. Like, listen, these two statements are not necessarily contradictory. I think there's some things to say here. So let's just get into it right now. And it'll make way more sense here in a second. I don't want to belabor anything. I think when I saw Brett's show, that one of the things, he's hiring from some different people and he's putting some things out there. And I think he's saying that he's giving some of his GMs some opportunities to buy into or buy him out of some dealerships. If I remember, again, this is my recollection. I can't rewatch a whole live show here. I will put a link to it, which is really impressive. That's awesome. I don't know how many other, owners or dealership groups are doing that. So, I mean, props to you, Brad. That's huge. That's really, really cool. But one of the statements that Brett made there, I think, well, let me put it this way. What I thought I heard, how about that? What I thought I heard from Brett in that similar broadcast was that a lot of people try to add him. He can't add everyone. I have no doubt about that, right? I mean, I struggle on myself and on LinkedIn, and I'm not, and I will also see this at the beginning. I'm nobody, right? I just know a lot of things and I know a lot of people. Okay. I'll say that, right? But I'm nobody. And so I can understand someone as successful as Brett probably has a hard time dealing with. I get it. Okay, fine. But I think like one of the things he said, and full disclosure, I mean, I'll just be very candid about this. I've sent Brett a resume. Okay, so full disclosure, right? I mean, no sour grapes or anything like that. Full disclosure. But I think I'm very candid with the audience. I always tell you, I'm very straight up, because I like that Brett's come from a tech background. I like the moves that he's made. I have no idea. I'm not I've never worked in these, so I don't know. I believe in talent, and I like when people are doing interesting and innovative things, and I'm down with that, and I want to learn more, and I at least want to have a conversation, and there's maybe a way to collaborate and stuff, and I'm sort of, specking out what I'm trying to do next. I don't want to make this about me. I'm just trying to be very candid with my audience so you know where I'm coming from, and I don't hold back, in my opinion. Okay. But I think Brett said something in that, if I remember, what I thought I heard, in my opinion, was something along the lines of, hey, one of the things it looks like in a resume or red flag maybe is someone that's moved around a lot in jobs. And I'm someone that has in the automotive world, right? Now I'm pretty much a lifelong entrepreneur. I'm used to doing my own thing and whatnot. And in fairness, I wouldn't say I'm the most corporate person out there. I think I'm super duper talented. I think I've proven that. Again, I don't want to make this about me, but I will weave it in because I think it's an important point, particularly in automotive. And I think that's a very interesting take in perspective from automotive. Me personally, I've hired people, I've looked at people, it's like, to me, it's like, I don't put any limitations. I would never put any limitations on myself of what I'm looking for, this and that. You never know where talent is going to. Grant Cardone comes in and he wants a job as whatever. And are you going to say no? Oh, wait, great. You moved around too much. Who cares? Like, or super salesperson X. Like, why does it matter? Or GM X or whomever. Why would you limit yourself like that? I think that's a mistake. I'm not listen, Brett's really, really successful, and what do I know, right? But I mean, to me, I think that's a mistake. Contravail that or compare that if I have it right. And if I'm wrong, Brett, I apologize, and feel free to correct me. Feel free to elaborate on why. I mean, you probably have great reasons. I have no doubt about it. Okay, that's fine. But I think it's worthy of a discussion here, particularly in automotive. Well, actually, let me set this up, because this is from Cox Automotive here. And let me see if I can get this on the screen here. And this is from Cox Automotive here. I'm gonna try to share the screen here. Just give me a second. This is Cox Automotive by Chase Abbott, 2018, quote, the true cost of turnover and how dealerships can fuel retention. Okay, so let me try to set this up. Give me a second. This is always a little bit tricky here. So let's share the screen here. Let's see if I can get this figured out here. Yes, I'm going to be able to do this. Give me 1 second. Let me come back here. Okay. And here you go. According to Cox Automotive, the average turnover rate, I'm assuming that's annual. I'm not 100%. I'm assuming that's annual, is 40% for dealership employees and 67% for salespeople. Now, if that's a yearly amount, that's a yearly stat, that is enormous. So anyone who's been in automotive, and I've been in and out of automotive for about 10 years now, right, knows there's really high turnover, particularly on the variable side, which is, sales and finance and GSMs and GMs and all that type of stuff, for a variety of reasons. And we're going to get to that. I'm going to sort that out. And I'm going to sort out why I believe that automotive is a really kind of a different deal here. But I think there were some comments here by Ian Macklin. Ian Macklin, who I saw today from the Andy Elliott Group, Vice President, professional speaker, Andy Elliott Group. I'm going to put it up. I'm going to try to share this here. See if I can get this video up here. Give me 1 second here. It's going to take us to kind of work through some of this. I'm going to try to share what he said, because I think it goes on longer, and I think it's important to let his comments stand on their own here. Let's see if we can get this up here. Even 1 second. Yes, and we will do this here in about 10 seconds or less. Here's what Ian said, right? And he kind of went through some different examples about how, this is, how a bottle of water at Costco costs this. That depending on where that bottle of water is, it was different perceived value, different ability to charge certain amounts, right? And the pull line here is, quote, when you feel like you're not worth much and forget who you are, change places. Do not stay there. Quote, ... And you go on here, and having the courage, etc. So I think that's a very powerful statement right there. And and we went back and forth a little bit on the comments. I appreciated what he said. And I think that has a lot of resonance to it. That has a lot of, I definitely agree with those statements. Okay. And because here's the thing, in my opinion, the thing is about for anything to be sustainable, value has to equal compensation. Does that make sense? Right? So if you're getting paid here and your value is here, that's not sustainable, right? How long is that going to continue? If your value is here and you're getting paid here, that's not really sustainable either, right? And so when Brett talks about, in my opinion, potentially a red flag for people that may be moving around a good bit. Unfortunately, in the listen, that's Cox Automotive that talked about the amount of turnover. And I'll just share this with the automotive situation. And I don't want to get too deep into it. There's some things I might say for later discussion. But I also think that obviously this is applicable for beyond automotive, right? But I think that, how many times have you been at a place that maybe you're a salesperson? I'm used to being the salesperson of the month, the top salesperson, pretty much everywhere I go. Pretty much everywhere I go. I'm one of the best in the nation at what I do. I'm a 20 to 40 car person on the floor in luxury, meaning Audi, Mercedes, on up. Right? I've worked all the way up to Ferrari. I've been a manager at Ferrari. I've been a manager, in my opinion, GSM in trading. I've been a manager at Audi, one of the top Audi stores in the country. I destroyed it as a manager. I was way more profitable than all the other managers in the group. I had the best, appointment show, close. I mean, all my stats are ridiculous. I doubled production at an internet department at a top 15 store in the country, and I did it in 1 month. I mean, in my opinion, I can go on and on and on. My PVR on finance, I've done it, right? My numbers are insane, but it's not about me. It is to say, I can only relate it to myself for a second to make the points. But it's like, okay, so let's say that's you. It doesn't matter. I mean, let's say that that's your and now you're making, because I've fairly consistently made $10,000 to $30,000 a month in the automotive business, honestly. And as you get to those higher levels, you see people get kind of nervous. Like, I've been told that I was making the most money in the building. It's not an uncommon thing for me. And some people are cool with that, and some people are not cool with that, in my opinion. And it's like, okay, well, who made the pay plan? You or me? So here's the thing. If you're asking people to be like, down for life and stuff like that, if you're asking people to like stay there and stay working and stuff, if someone is bringing in, let's say hypothetically, $500,000, $1 million, $2 million, $5 million of value, if they're generating that for your business. I was in a business, I was working somewhere once, in my opinion, where I was generating, or over the period of time, I mean, for the time, it's hard to exactly explain this without being too. I've been in a situation where I was, in my opinion, over 100x of value from what I was getting. How is that sustainable? It's not, that's insanity, right? Now, I think I'd like to believe I did an incredible job, but the point being is, if you want to keep people, you need to pay people. And you need to give them opportunity. This is any industry, but particularly with the car businesses, here's what happens. All too often, and this is, I've talked to, I can't tell you how many people I've got in this phone. My contact list, this is platinum, in my opinion. So many of the top people. And so how many times this happened? Salesperson X. I'm not talking pandemic. I'm not talking the best sales, the best car market profitability that we've seen in maybe our lifetimes, or certainly a long time. I'm talking normal car market. Normal car market. That's what we're getting into. Salesperson X is making $20,000-$25,000. What happens next? Oh, okay. Management starts hiring, and there's 4 salespeople on the floor. Right now they say, okay, well, you know what? We want to sell more. We're going to go to 8 salespeople. They just doubled the sales floor. What's going to happen? Okay, maybe instead of selling 100 cars, you sell 140 cars, but guess what? Boom, averages start coming down. So now that's kind of a pay cut. You did nothing. That salesperson did nothing wrong. I mean, how long you hang out for that? Let's say the numbers, what about this? Instead of selling 100 cars, now you sell 60 cars, and you have 8 salespeople. And now instead of making 20 grand, you're making 10 grand. Or instead of making 10 grand, you're making 3 grand. I mean, do you hang out? Because that happens all the time. We all know that happens all the time. How about this? Salesperson X is making 25 grand, and then all of a sudden they change the pay plan. Right? They change the pay plan. So instead of making 25 grand, now you're making 16 grand. Or in order to make 25 grand, you need to sell 30% more cars. Now what? Wait a minute. I came in for this, and now you change the pay plan on me. So flooding the floor, changing pay plans, changing managers. This stuff happens all the time in the car business. Or we're going to change the way the leads are done. We're going to change. Now we're doing everything different. So now you're not going to get phone pops anymore. You're not going to get internet pops anymore. So if you take away someone's leads, you change the pay plan, you flood the floor, you've changed the game. But you could say, well, John, why don't you hang out there? Well, dude, listen, if I think I'm worth 200 to 500, 200 to 600, 300 to 600, I'm not hanging out for 100. Unless there's something dramatically strategic about that. Or how about this? I'm the best salesperson, or I'm the best manager, or I'm the best finance manager, whatever. And now all of a sudden, hey, there's 3 spots that have opened up over the period of 6 months above me, and you never interviewed me for the job, or you didn't ask me for the job, you didn't give me any opportunity, but I'm the best. I've had people tell me, John, we can't take you off the floor because you're too valuable. I can't spare your units. I've had them. I've heard that. So how do you expect people to hang out and remain loyal and not move around? It's not just the automotive industry. It's just that's one of the biggest offenders. There's people that have told me, John, I had to change jobs to get the promotion. We've seen this. We've seen studies on this. The people that stay, it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. It shouldn't be this way. And maybe Brett's situation, maybe Brett's operation is totally different. And from what he's saying about offering GMs the opportunity to buy themselves to buy him out 100%, it sounds like a very different operation. So that's a kudos to you, Brett. It's fantastic. But I'm saying in the regular automotive space, you have to understand how it is. Right? And what happens and why there's so much crazy turnover. Or I've seen stuff where it's like the numbers aren't being met. You're the salesperson of the month. How about this? You're the salesperson of the month. Numbers aren't being met. And then they just burn you out. Oh, you can't take a day off. Oh, we're going to work. Oh, we're going bell to bell. Oh, it's the end of the month. Well, is the end of the month? Is that one day? Is that a weekend? Is that a week? Like, I'm not, like, if I'm shooting the lights out and I'm doing everything here, I'm not responsible for you not hitting the numbers. You got to, it's like the horse from Animal Farm. Like, listen, I've done everything. I gave it the office. I gave it church. I gave it around the corner. I gave it school. Like, you got to chill out. And so there is a tendency to overwork the winners and to not reward the winners because there is no plan B. You don't understand how to develop the talent. And maybe that's what Ian and Andy and the other people are talking about. And I know that Brett's, from what I understand, my opinion is a fan of what Andy Elliott and those people do. And so I think he spoke very highly of him. So probably there is maybe not really, that's why I didn't want to put it. And I don't want to be, cheesy. And I'm not looking for just, cheap hits and stuff like that. So I would think logically that there isn't really a disagreement there. And I may be not fully understanding exactly what Brett's saying. But I think that this is something that is really a discussion across industries. How do you keep top talent? And again, if you have top talent that's done everything, and there's a sales manager position that opens up, a GSM position opens up, a GM position opens up, and you don't offer it to that person, at a certain point, they're like, hey, you know what? I'm not going to get that tap on the shoulder. Maybe management doesn't have or ownership doesn't have the confidence in me. In order to get what I'm worth, I got to go somewhere else. For myself, for my own thing, I'm making a pivot to Sarasota for the reasons I already talked about. I need to be in that general area. I personally can work anywhere. If someone gives me something amazing, I have something lined up. I don't want to talk too much about it now. But I made a strategic play for personal reasons. I can make that move, a strategic play. Like I can do something that's like, okay, well, this makes sense for now because of this. But TBD, everything's TBD. Right? Because if I go there and I'm not the person that I'm supposed to be and I don't perform, well, they're not going to be happy about that. Or if I go there and I super perform and now I'm making half of what I think I should be making or I'm used to making, well, we have to look at everything. The bottom line is the only thing that's sustainable is value is here, compensation is here. When value goes here, compensation has to go here, right? If you have a top talent that's doing all kinds of stuff and adding value, and you're not giving them positions when positions open up, or you're not at least talking to them, you can't expect them to hang out. That doesn't make sense. Would you do that? Let's put the shoe on the other foot. So now you're paying someone $300,000 and they're only bringing in $150,000 of value and they're just hanging out there. They're like, oh, what's the matter? You wouldn't be cool with that. It doesn't make sense. Some of these things are so illogical to me. And again, hiring someone that moves around, who cares? Here's what I care about, because I know I'm different, right? Here's what I care about when I talk to people. Can you do the job? Are you a winner? Are you a superstar? Do you want to go to the moon? Do you have proven metrics that I can look at? And when can you start? That's it, right? If I have work that needs to be done and KPIs that need to be hit, that's all that matters, right? Because everything else, who knows what's going to happen down the road? Who knows if I want to sell a dealership? Who knows if who knows if a manufacturer goes all EV? Anything can happen. All I know is I need to win today, right now. If I have a superstar, I'll figure out how to keep that superstar. I'll figure out how to pay them up. I'll figure out how to give them the time off. I'll figure out how to craft something that makes sense for them. And the problem is that we pay for positions. Oh, a salesperson makes this, a sales lead makes this, a manager makes this, finance manager makes that, GM makes this. That's nonsense. The only one where there's really sort of significant variables, the little bit degree salesperson, and once you hit certain levels, all of a sudden things start changing on a lot of places. Or a GM. If you're smashing in a store, they'll let you make that money. But I mean, I've seen places, and I don't want to say, name names. I've seen places where I get calls all the time from GMs. I get calls all the time from owners. Not all the time, but I mean, believe me, I got a lot. This is platinum, buddy, and people out there, and I get calls all the time. It's like, yeah, this so and so group, they've changed GMs like more than once a year. Okay, well, is it? I mean, so if that's just how it is, and I knew, and again, I don't want to get specific. I've known a number of different organizations like that. That's not uncommon. I've heard that. So in that environment, how do you expect people to hang out? The way you keep people in Silicon Valley, the way we've always said, is what they call golden handcuffs. You get, well, that's, I'm going to get a little, this isn't going to be exactly technically accurate. I'm going to do a little bit askew here, but the basic summary is you give people upside. You give people a chance to really capture their value. You make it worth their while. You pay them to hang out. This is a job. You expect value from employees, and employees expect value from what they're doing. I don't want to do the work. Listen, I'm a very generous person. I'll help people out. I'll train people. I'll show people. I'll do everything like that, right? I'm all in on that. I've always done that. But you can't expect me to generate $1 million of value and you only pay me $100,000 for long. That's not going to happen. I'm not hanging out for that. And who would? How does that make sense? I can't be the champion and the winner and everything that the people say that they want, and they want the best teams. If I'm going to be a punk like that, either I'm stupid or I don't know. Like, it doesn't make sense. You can't ask people to do that. So yes, if people move around, there may be a reason why they're moving around. You know why? And Andy Elliott says that the best people can move around. The top 20% can move around, and they will move around if you mess with them. You know who doesn't move around? People that sometimes, unfortunately, people that can't move around. So that's who you want. Those are the winners. I'm for everybody. And I like what Andy's saying is like you want to develop everybody. But if I'm making a plan in a recession, I'm making a plan for the people that can score the touchdowns. It's a great idea and it's a great thought that, like, hey, you know what? That 3-car person, I'm going to make them into a 5-car person. That 1-car person, I'll make them into a 4-car person or 5-car person. That's awesome. But you know what I know? I know that I can take more often than not my percentage shot, my free throw shot, not the half court shot blindfolded behind my back. The free throw shot is to take a 15-car person, make him 20-car person, 20-car person, make him 25-car person, to pay them up, to give them something, say, hey, if you do this, this is what I'm going to do for you. You pay them up and things happen. It's amazing. We've seen this every time. We all know this. We put ourselves together in the car business. We all know this. We all know that, hey, if I have some old age units over here, if I just drop a nickel on that, or if I drop a dime on that, if I drop a dime on these cars and these old age cars, guess what? Magically, they go away. Well, they've been sitting here for 90 days, 120 days, 150 days. You know why? You paid up. It's amazing how that works. Now, maybe that shouldn't work like that. Maybe we should have done that earlier. Maybe we should have done the fire drill and the 2-minute scramble. Maybe we should have done that like a month ago, 2 months ago. I get it. But do not deny that the money, the compensation, all of a sudden made things happen. So how do we get away from that? If you want to keep people from job, it's very easy, very simple for someone to keep me. There's a number. You pay that number. You let me do my thing because I know what I'm doing. I promise you, well, I don't want to promise, I'm not making any guarantees. I would be very surprised, in my opinion, if I don't generate significant multiples of that, and everybody gets paid up. Here's the thing about me. People would say, oh, ego and this and the blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. So call these people, and here's the questions I want you to ask. Does John sell cars? Yes. Does John make money? Yes. Does the gross go up? Yes. Does he motivate everyone else? Yes. Does the whole store sell more? Yes. Super weird. Isn't that the point? Like the whole point. Like I've seen situations where, and I don't want to get too specific, but I've seen situations where I've been somewhere and it goes from here to here. I've been in situations where there was number 3 in the country and all of a sudden we become number 1 in the country, right? And then I leave, I go somewhere, and then boom, numbers go down. Maybe numbers even cut in half. So if you're paying, so let's think about this. If I'm getting, let's just make a number up. It's a fake number. 15,000 a month, 20,000 a month, great. And you're paying a GM 30,000, 50,000, 50,000 a month. Let's just say 50,000 a month. That's a heavy number. I don't know. Let's say 40. Even that's a little bit of a hit, but let's go with 40. And now numbers are down in like for just magic, like numbers are now half of what they were before. And I was, and I recently left at some point. This could be, I'm talking very hypothetically right here. But let's just go through this mental exercise here. So the numbers were here. And they were great. They were awesome. They were like top in the nation or one of the top of the nation or top, 10% or just very great. And I was number 1 stunner or I was number 2 or whatever. I was right there at the top. So we were a top store and I was the top person or one of the top people. And now I left and boom, numbers are now like, let's say a half. And now the GM that or the GSM or whomever that you're paying 50 grand a month, 30 grand a month, 40 grand a month, cannot move those numbers back up, cannot move the profitability back up. Everyone else's numbers are down. Numbers are about half of what they were when I was there. Why is that GM worth $40,000 or $50,000 and I'm only worth $10,000, $15,000 a month or $20,000 a month? How does that make any sense? Business-wise. I don't care title-wise. I don't care what's on the business card. I don't care who's wearing the suit. Business-wise, how does that make sense? It doesn't. You know it and I know it. It doesn't. So if you're not willing to pay up and step up, then you can expect people will get walking if they're smart. If you're not giving that person opportunity to move up, if you've got people above them that cannot execute or not as good as them, then that's, you got the wrong attitude, John. Okay, no, dude, you know what? I'm all about reality. What's the reality? Who can get it done? If I can't get it done, don't pay me. If I can get it done, you have to pay up. Period. End of story. That's it. I think that's what Andy Elliott would say. I think that's what Brett Sutherland would say. I think that's what any good business owner would say. Any good talent would say. That's the reality. If someone's bringing in $1 million and they can get it done, then they get paid up. If they can't, you get paid what you're worth. Period. End of story. If you're a GSM and you're a GM and you cannot generate business, you cannot generate traffic, you cannot do 30 calls a day, you cannot close, you cannot set appointments, what good are you? I'm sorry. What good are you? I don't care what diploma you have, NADA certificate, whatever, any kind of GM school, whatever kind of, what good are you for that store right now? Makes no sense. It makes no sense. What's your P&L? We all have P&Ls. What's your P&L? When you have nobody else to hide behind, when it's just you, here's the clarifying thing. This is really where I started thinking like, I've always thought like this, but where I really started thinking like this to an even greater degree was when COVID happened, right? When the pandemic happened. And I don't want to get too specific. I'll get a little bit specific, but I'll be careful. But so we were in a situation and well, I have to say this, and I'll say more later. I just have to say this. I really appreciate and value the Cavalli family and Gino Walsh. And I will have more to say on that later. And they have been so good to me. And I am an unusual talent. I am very different. And I think that to a large extent, in my opinion, they get it. They got it. I have nothing but good things to say about all those people and everything like that. And I just want to say that. I'll have more to say on that later. probably. Okay, back to the programming. So, and it's the other thing. That's the other thing about this. Well, I'm jumping ahead. I'm jumping all around, and I'm sorry. That's the way my mind works sometimes. It's a super genius thing. Okay. If you want great talent, like really great talent, they're not easy to deal with. They're different. That's a better way to say it. By definition, they are different. They are unusual. They are not normal. If you want the best, was Thomas Edison normal? Was Albert Einstein normal? Take a look. See how they did the things. Madame Curie, come on, right? Steve Jobs, Bill Gates. Check into that. Okay, so we're really started thinking like this, and this is a terrible show, but hopefully it's good information. Although sometimes I listen to the shows back and I'm like, oh, actually was it good? But anyway, is during the pandemic. And what happened is, unfortunately, things got really pared down. And that's why I want to say the thing about the Cavallis. As someone had confidence in me, probably Brett Macy and Clint Briggs, and I appreciate y'all, is that they let everybody go. Almost everybody. And I was lucky enough that I was a newer manager there. I'd worked for them before. It was me, Clint Briggs, who ran the store. Brett Macy ran both stores, Audi Lighthouse Point, Audi Fort Lauderdale at that time, Audi Coral Springs. Al, who was our finance manager, traditional finance manager, and Anthony Segreto, who was had been a finance manager before, very talented. I think he's a sales manager now. Long history there, just very experienced and whatnot. And they let some other stunners and superstars and people I really respect. Or at least I don't want to name names. I don't want to get specific. Let me stop there. But I would say this, and that was a top store. That was a top store with a lot of talent there. That was a top store in the country, a lot of talent there. And anyway, I really appreciated the confidence that they had in me at that situation, and I did everything I could to deliver. Part of what I did to deliver was say, listen, I'm not just going to desk, and I had to bug Brett a minute on this. I'm not going to just desk deals and fill out blue sheets and clean up deals and close deals. I'm going to sell cars too. I'm going to get off this desk and I'm going to go make it happen. I'll take a test drive. I'll do everything I could to help Anthony. Anthony had the best month that he's ever had. And guess what I did? I put up almost 30 cars by myself, right around 30 cars by myself. Why? I added value. I did what I needed to do because who knows? Who knows what was going to happen? They were selling dealerships. This is all public. This has been done. It's out there in the paper. So I had to do what I had to do to show value, to add value. So the point being is any level that you're at, you should be able to do the next level down like way better than everybody, or at least like super competent. Like that's what I'm talking about. You don't get to just get to a level and it's time to kick back. I'm going to hit the golf course. I got the suit on. Okay, this level pays this because I have the business card. Like, no, dude. If you can't add value and show what you're doing, I show what I'm all about right then and there. Does that make sense? So you have to be prepared to get in the play and deliver. You have to be prepared to get in the play and deliver and show how you can add value and how you can make it happen. People were shocked. So, oh, you're a manager. You're out there driving cars. You're out putting license plates. Absolutely. 100%. $1,000,000%. You know why? Because that's the job. The job is selling cars and making customers happy. That's the job. The job isn't being a finance manager and those are elements of the job. The job is selling cars and getting customers and keeping customers happy. That's the job. Taking care of the manufacturer and being a good franchise. That's the job. That's the job. This is not rocket science. Who can deliver value? See it in the NFL, see it in football. Sometimes the MVP is a running back. Sometimes the MVP is a quarterback. Sometimes the MVP is a wide receiver. Sometimes the MVP is a defense. It just depends who's making plays. You don't pay a second string quarterback more than the first string running back because they're a quarterback, right? So anyway, I don't want to belabor the point. I appreciate that by I hope that made some sense. I hope I was able to sort through some of that. I appreciate what Ian says. I see I've got some comments here on LinkedIn. Let me just see if someone's saying something on LinkedIn that I wasn't able to see before. I'll try to comment on it now. Very, very quickly. No, I don't think so. And so there's a lot more to that. And I will have a lot more to say, going forward. But I'm saying that everything I've been saying, I think, has borne out that there in this space, there is a talent war going on right now. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing people looking for experience. I'm seeing people looking for hitters. I'm seeing groups that are making moves that are trying to grab people. And listen, Brett, in my opinion, is doing it if you're giving people a chance to step up and buy dealerships and grow, that's exciting, dude. I mean, that's going to get people noticing. Brett's making moves. He's doing things. I like it. Andy Elliott's group's making moves. They're doing things. I like it. And Brian Benstock, let's make some moves. Let's get things going on. But I think where automotive can do a much better job, this is the point, is in paying people what they're worth. If you have superstars, don't cut their legs out from underneath them. I don't think you're going to get good results long term. They will walk. They have the opportunity to walk. Give them a chance to develop. If you have someone that's crushing, I think that's Andy Elliott's career. I think he crushed it at Kia in Oklahoma. I know a little bit of the story, not the whole story, so I apologize if I'm getting it wrong. Made like over $700,000 one year, something crazy, right? And props to him. And props to the ownership. Because you have to let people do that. If you're not letting people earn their money, they're not hanging out, right? If they're smart, and I think that's what Ian's saying, if they're smart, they're not hanging out. If you pay people what they're worth and work with them, be flexible. If you say everyone's got to do this schedule, John, that's the way it is. Or everyone's got to do it this way, or we're not going to let you do a radio show. We don't want you to do this. Then why would a super talented creative person hang out? They'll hang out as long as they need to hang out. Like, that's what I'm saying. If you want to keep people, keep them. That's just really simple. And if you have people that are above them that aren't able, that they're better than, that they're adding more value than, well, you need to change something up. You need to pay this person more. You need to get these people, out of there. They shouldn't report to those people, or you got to give them an opportunity to be at that level or higher or whatever. Like, it's just common sense. If you got a salesperson that's making more money and generating more money to the bottom line than a GM or a GSM, then they should be GSM or GM. If they want to be, or you should at least pay them as much or pay them more. Or not have those people be their direct reports, because obviously they're not getting it done. Oh, John, it's way more complicated to be a GM than a salesperson. Sure. But is it really rocket science? I mean, stop. Like, please. I mean, stop. Like, you can't have this 10-year plan for people that may or may not happen. Again, there's another video, and it was really good. It was an engineer about how, like, climbing the corporate ladder is a bit of a myth, and how you can get punked out along the way, and there's so many different things, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not going to get it right enough. I'll try to find out. Probably won't be able to find it, unfortunately, to link it in the video description. But the point is, that's why people leave, because if you promise someone something, and down the road, and we may do this, and the carrot's over here, and the goalposts keep moving, at some point they just go somewhere else that's giving that position. Does that make sense? Right? So if you want to keep people, if you want loyalty to them, if you want loyalty from them, you need to be loyal to them. It's got to come from the employer first, not the other way around, particularly with talent. If you want to keep talent, you got to pay talent, period. End of story. That's it. That's what it is. You have to show them that they're worth. If that person's generating money, I am keeping them right there. I'm going to help them out. And guess what? I want them to want my job. I want them to start their own company. I want to be along for the ride of their greatness and to show them what they can do. Because if I believe that I'm the best trainer, if I believe this is the best place to work, what am I worried about? They can tell their friends, they can do whatever. If I can train them, if I think, me personally, I know I can train talent. I'm not sweating anything. I know I can train talent. Now, I will do everything I can to keep, in other words, and you can work out different situations where maybe they start their own thing. Maybe there's some collaborations you can do. You can't think small-minded. You got to think about expanding the pie. When you have this, all this control comes from fear. The need to control is fear-based. That's weakness to me. That's someone that can't do it. That's someone that's scared that, oh my goodness, that if I lose this person that's worth $1 million and then it's going to be on me and I can't, like, that's craziness. Anyway, I want to be very positive here. I don't want to, bottom line is this. It all makes sense. Compensation has to equal value. Be smart, and when you create the environment where people want to work with you and work for you, and when you pay people, I think good things will happen, right? Find the talent, pay the talent, create an environment where people want to be there. Be the best place to work for. If you say you're a family, be a family. If you say you're a great place to work, then be a great place to work. If you say you provide opportunity, be opportunity. Who wanted to leave Steve Jobs when they were on the rocket ship? Who wanted to leave all these unicorns when they were on rocket ship? Nobody. Because that was the best place to work. Who wanted to leave Google when it was a rocket ship? Nobody. Everybody wanted to get in that place. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, right? Who wouldn't want a job at Sequoia Capital or Kleiner Perkins or something like that? Like, come on. Goldman Sachs. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like you can't ask for AAA talent if you're, B-level place. It doesn't work that way. If you stumble into AAA talent, you better do everything you can to keep that person, learn from them, empower them. Again, Steve Jobs, A-level talent doesn't want to work with B and C-level talent. So it all makes sense. It's all simple. To implement it is a little more complex, right? And customized. Every situation is different. And again, who am I? I'm nobody. I just know a lot of things. I know a lot of people. That's all I'm saying. So I hope that makes some sense. Brett, correct me if I'm wrong. Ian, I'm here to learn. I don't know everything. And I think it's an important conversation. And I appreciate you all for what you're doing out there. You're making moves. You're doing some things. And I look forward to continuing learning. I hope that helps. Have a great Sunday. I think we're going to do another video here with Janair. That's a totally separate subject. So thank you all. Talk to you next time.